I, at the very outset, I have to tell you that truth is what it is. You cannot change it, you cannot transform it, you cannot explain it. Only thing you can experience it. In this Kali Yuga, there is a special category of people born in all the countries, very surprisingly, who are seekers of truth. And William Blake, the great poet of England, has said that these men of God will be born during this time and they will know the truth. So many have said about this. Even in our old books of prophecies, you have known so many of them, but especially the one which is described in a Nadi Granth written by Bhrigu Muni, is clearly said that at this time people will know the truth through the Kundalini awakening. The knowledge of Kundalini was known to us, I don't know how many years back. You cannot say because our history is so unknown. But at the time of a great saint called Machindar Nath and Gorakhnath, they were indulging into awakening of Kundalini, but the condition was that one guru should give realization to only one person. It went on like this till the 12th century, when Gyanadeva first of all asked his guru, his own master was his own brother, asked him that you please allow me to at least write about Kundalini. Because in the Gita it was not described. Though Shri Krishna has talked of Sthita Pragya and all those things, but he didn't talk about how to get it, what is the mechanism within us which works it out. Then he wrote it in his Gyaneshwari, which is just a, I think, explanation of Gita, very clearly that there is a power within us. In the 6th chapter he wrote about Kundalini, but the people who were in charge of religion didn't want that. So they said this is a Nishidha part and you should not read this part of Kundalini. But in the 16th century, under the guidance of Guru Nanaka, Namadeva, Kabira, all these people clearly, very clearly wrote about Kundalini. But the way it was mutilated by people, which is very surprising. Everything had been mutilated, but this one was very surprising because Kabira was in Bihar and he called Kundalini as Surati. Very clearly he said about Surati. But in Bihar, Surati is what you call tobacco. They call tobacco as Surati. So you can imagine what is the mutilation. Now this power is within you. If I am telling you something today, you need not accept it. Blindfolded acceptance is of no use. We have had enough problems with blind faiths. So first of all, you must get the experience and then you will not doubt it. This science was known to us since long. But as it was only done for one person or say 10% at the most, I decided to find out a method by which an en masse realization could be given. Luckily my father was a very social person and I could meet many people. Even my husband's life was such that I could meet many people. So I worked out the permutations and combinations of human problems. And then I discovered how we can easily solve this problem of Kundalini awakening. Because there are problems on the way of its ascent, then Kundalini doesn't come up. Now, there are 7 chakras, basically. within us. These 7 chakras are responsible of our physical, mental and emotional being. There's no doubt about it. But you have to first find out and then believe in it. Don't believe because I am saying so or anybody says so. You have to experience it and feel it. There are many ways we can also judge. For example, in the Quran, Muhammad Sahib has said at the time of Qiyamah, means this time of resurrection, your hands will speak. He also calls it Qiyamat, means those who will not accept will suffer. But who will accept, their hands will speak, their mouth will be shut and their hands will speak. This is exactly what happens in Sahaja Yoga, that once you get your self-realization, you can feel those subtle centers within you. These subtle centers of energy are 7 in number and are acting for giving us all kinds of energies. Now the problem is how to make people believe in Kundalini. It's a difficult task because you are all intellectuals and you have had your medical education from England and all these places. You see, this is more westernized. And to believe in something Indian is rather difficult for people that it's all Indian after all. But actually, even in medical science, we have to understand the limitations of science. First of all, science is amoral. Secondly, it doesn't go to the roots. So it starts like we have to treat a tree. So we treat the leaves, treat the branches. But Sahaja Yoga is going to the roots, is the knowledge of the roots. And the roots are the 7 chakras and our Kundalini. Of course, without medical science, you cannot also understand Sahaja Yoga. That is one of the things. Because you can relate very easily, it's very scientific. Now there are 3 nadis, also left, right and center. Left is called as Ida Nadi, right as Pingala. And the central one is called as Sushumna Nadi. Kabira has described it very clearly. And it is in the Grantha Sahib, written down. But nobody tries to understand or to go beyond the words. Just go and read the words. That is not going to help. You have to go beyond it. It's like this. You see a beautiful picture, say, where it's raining, it's very beautiful, and you are seeing it, that's all. But you are not inside it to experience it. So to enter inside was difficult, one because of the tradition of giving to one person only or to few persons. And secondly, the greatest objection came from people who were in charge of religion those days. Nowadays, those who are intellectuals, we should say, medias, and other people who have a feeling that they know everything, they don't want to take anything that is stupid in them. This is one of the reasons why people don't turn their eyes to the great knowledge we have in this country. I am so very happy today that Indian Medical Association has given me this honor, first of all, because I could never imagine in my lifetime I would be able to talk into them. I also did my medicine and I knew how difficult it was and how people were blind. So I used to think, how will I explain to them? Like Kabira has said, "Kaise samajhaun sab jaga andha." But the time has come because they are seekers now. And they should also know one more thing, that this country is the yoga bhumi. They have given us science, all right, but we'll give them yoga. We'll give them the real basic knowledge. What is the foundation of medical science? Is the foundation. Now by experimenting this and that, also you have seen that it is neutralized by challenges. Every theory is neutralized. So that means it's not absolute. So we have to go to something that is absolutely absolute. You have seen that Einstein found out something, then now people are after him. This is wrong, that is wrong. It's going on like that. All the time something comes up, people go on criticizing, and the whole knowledge goes into oblivion. So now we have to understand that if this is the yoga movie, this is our country, and if it has given us such a knowledge, why should we not also listen to it? Because not only that it will flower your knowledge of medicine, not only that, but it will give you such a confidence while practicing, while talking about medicine. Now, as it is a subject is on medicine, I would like to speak on one of the centers, which is very important because doctors are always affected by that center. So I better tell them what can go wrong with doctors and what they should be careful about. Okay? It is to be understood that there is a center in the second center which we call as Swadhisthana. This center is very interesting. It comes out of the we call it Navi Chakra, and like a lotus, and it moves all around. See, as you can say, in the gross way, it is aortic plexus. It supplies energy to aortic plexus. It is not aortic plexus, but supplies energy to aortic plexus. Now this center is very important because it gives energy to our liver, to pancreas, to our spleen, to our intestines, to our kidneys. Can you imagine such an important center it is, this Swadhisthana? But the most important work it does is which I don't know if you'll accept or not, but it supplies energy to our grey cells which we are using all the time. When we are thinking too much, when we are acting physically and mentally, this center has to supply energy to our brain, we can call it, to our grey cells, which we are using all the time. When we are doctors, we are using our grey cells, how much, we have no idea, nobody has found out how much we use our brains. But we are exhausting our brains, and also we are very futuristic. All doctors are futuristic. Maybe they want to find out something in the pure sense of the word, or maybe they have certain ideas, or maybe it is money, maybe anything. But they are very, very futuristic. And in that trend of futuristic behavior, also there's a big competition. So they don't know what to do. They have to be futuristic and think, but what will happen? Now, in these kind of movement of the mind, what happens? We start becoming very right-sided, extremely right-sided. Now, as a result of that, as a right-sided man, I would say what medically can happen. Of course, also happens a lot of things in mentally also. But what can happen medically? This Swadhisthana chakra, which has to supply to your liver. Why do you call it liver? Because of liver we live. Liver is very important in surgery. I know that in medicine we don't know much about liver. And it is absolutely curable in surgery. But now what happens? Liver is the one which takes all the poison of the body and throws it into the circulation. That everyone knows. All right. Now when liver is looked after, it is normal. Then we have also a pancreas, then we have spleen and also kidneys, and the last part of intestines. Intestines as a whole, but last part is very important. So such a man who is always thinking all his energy is going to his brain, and all these organs are neglected, and he can be affected by any one of them. So the first thing he is affected is bad liver. Now this bad liver, because it cannot throw its heat, which is the poison of the body, into the circulation, what happens? Heat starts rising. This heat goes higher. On the right side we call it a right heart, which is the center which controls the lungs. So such a person can get asthma. Now asthma has been cured through Sahaja Yoga. very simple way. But it can be cured. It gets asthma. We say it is incurable because we don't know about Swadhisthana. Now this same thing happens to when it moves to the left side pancreas. Mostly people who are sitting on their chairs and thinking too much and planning too much get diabetes. Sugar doesn't give you a diabetes. In Maharashtra, I don't know, maybe here also in the villages, a villager will take sugar in such a way that the spoon must stand at right angles. That's the way tea has to be made, otherwise it is not tea. But he never gets diabetes because he earns without any insurance or anything, spends it, sleeps off, next day he earns. He doesn't have botheration about future, what he should do, he should accumulate money or he should visit somebody, nothing. He just lives with himself. Now this goes to pancreas, gives you diabetes, this heat. Then it goes down. Then the kidney it coagulates. Now for kidney, if you go to dialysis, I must tell you, not that only you die, but you die bankrupt. It's a fact. Now, in no way I want to criticize doctors. They have to earn after all. But there is a simple way of curing this kidney trouble. And once his kidney is cured, it is cured forever. So by helping Swadhisthana, you can cure also kidney. But the most difficult thing is the spleen. Now, in modern times, we are very hectic. For example, most of the doctors have to get up early in the morning. On duty, in the college we also used to do the same thing. Then we have no time to eat our food properly, nothing. And we take our breakfast with us sometimes. In America, I have seen doctors even brushing their teeth in the car. To the limit of things. So in this kind of a hectic life, you see, what happens, the spleen, poor thing, which has to produce RBCs for emergencies, gets mad. She can't understand what's the matter with this gentleman. And it cannot also cooperate with all the madness we have. Then we read newspapers. Reading newspaper in the morning is a very dangerous thing, because every day you see something horrible and you get such a fright. For example, these days our country is a doldrum. I never read it in the morning at any cost. But if you read it early in the morning in a newspaper, then finished. You'll get some. They only tell you about what has gone wrong. Disasters, accidents, if not that, then political crisis, this, that, which upsets you. Whether you like it or not, but it upsets you. So, reading newspaper early in the morning, then just running forward. No time for wife, no time for children, nothing. Formerly, I remember that husband used to eat nicely at about 10 o'clock. The wife used to fan him, because there might be some flies around. She used to fan. And relaxed way they used to eat food and live relaxed. Now, what you call in Urdu language, kashmakash, is so much that people are just running mad. They don't know what to do. Now they go to the office, then they find, for doctors especially, the boss is angry, or there's some very serious patient has come, and somebody has died by mistake. I mean, doctors are completely treated like criminals in America, absolutely like criminals. So this is also coming here. If they do anything wrong, by mistake they do something, finished. Their practice is gone, they are put in jail. I mean, after all, they are human beings. But this consideration is not there, and so this futuristic life makes them really crazy people. Then they become very hot-tempered. Liver gives you heat, you become very hot-tempered. At the slightest thing, you just shoot off and start saying things which you should never have said. Then you feel guilty. When you feel guilty, you catch this center ear left Vishuddhi, we call it, by which you develop spondylitis. If not spondylitis, there's something horrible thing can happen to you. Now, according to Sahaja Yoga, we have two types of heart attacks. One is a active, massive heart attack. And another one is what we call lethargic, like angina. So the first one which happens is the massive one where, same thing, the heat reaches the heart. Now say there's a boy who is playing tennis at the age of 21 or 22 and is drinking also, competing with his father. So he gets that massive heart attack. And it is absolutely fatal. He cannot live after that. This is a very common case you must have also seen. I'm not telling you something out of the blue. But the another one is, if you continue with this kind of thing, then maybe one day you might get massive heart attacks, especially the industrialists. Industrialists are so much futuristic, so much calculating, that they don't calculate that this will entail their own heart trouble. So this heart suddenly collapses and they die. This is I call it an active heart attack due to overact. Another one is lethargic heart attack, like angina. That is, if this center is caught here, if you feel guilty. Some people are very sensitive and very formal type, they feel guilty, I should have done this. I've known people who have been crying all their life, I spilled coffee on the table of such and such. I said, let it be now, gone, finished, why are you bothered? But they'll go on and on and on. It's a habit they have formed to feel guilty about it. For anything they start feeling guilty. In India we are not so much, I think, formal type of people, thank God. So I find less cases of this. But still there are many people who develop this left side. Not only with that you develop your spondylitis, but you develop a situation where heart cannot pump blood for your brain. That is angina. Nobody knows that it comes from this left side problem. Left side problem could come from other things also. But one of them is feeling guilty. This is something I'm telling you which is not yet told in the medical science, but I'm sure one day we'll have it from India. We'll tell these people what we know about the roots of trouble. The root of trouble is like that. So now the last, but not the least, is the effect of Swadhisthana is this heat reaches the brain and gives you paralysis on left hand side, because it crosses over nerves, so it gives you a terrible paralysis on the left hand side, but you feel it on the right hand side. Also nature is the one which tries to stop. If you don't stop, it says, all right, I will stop your right side, left side will be all right. Now the one side of life is also right side. Second side, another side we can say, is the side which is left side. And the left side and right side, when they meet, you get psychosomatic trouble. With this Kundalini rising, what happens? That it nourishes those centers. For example, see, this is one center formed by two left and right side. This is a center, left and right side. Now the Kundalini passes through this. But supposing you are using right side too much like this, and suddenly left side breaks somewhere. Then what happens? That your connection with the main, we should say, mains is lost. You are on your own and cancer starts. Now this cancer can be cured also. I'm sorry to say, but it is a fact. It can be cured, cancer can be cured. Not at a galloping stage, I think, but at an early stage. We have also tried some galloping stage people. They have improved. But still, I would say it's not guaranteed at that stage. After all, nothing is guaranteed, but still it works, and it has worked. Now, when this cancer is caused, you see, what is our job is to push back this left side to the right, and also through Kundalini awakening to nourish the center. You see, this is the basis for our health, our, we can say, mind, everything. It's a mental, physical and emotional. But also spiritual. Because when Kundalini rises like this, it goes, crosses over this fontanelle bone. This is Kabira says, Shunya Shikhara Para Anahadavadi. No, nobody can explain what does he say. Shunya Shikhara Para Anahada is a heartbeat. How can a heartbeat come up? Shunya Shikhara means on the fontanelle bonnet. He was not mad. But the people who do not understand cannot think that this Kundalini reaches here. It does. You can see for yourself, it does reach here. And once it breaks, this sound finishes. Then on your nerves, you are amazed, on your central nervous system, you start feeling the cool breeze of the Holy Ghost, as they call it in the Bible, or they call it as the Alakh Niranjan, or they call it as Brahmacharya. You start feeling it on your finger, on your hand. You can. If you experience that, still you go on saying, no, I don't believe in it, then it's all right. But if you really start moving into that line and start feeling that, then you are amazed. Because when the Kundalini rises, as I told you, she helps you physically. I have told you about only one chakras, but there are 7 chakras. So all the 7 chakras, with this permutation combination of these 3 channels, it cures all that. As a result, you start enjoying your life. You become what you call a person who is a witness to this whole thing. The whole thing becomes just a drama, and you start seeing it so clearly. This is first thing happens to you. Now, if you have something serious, or say something you have to operate somewhere, then you are nervous already. How can I do it? If you are nervous, then how can you operate? And also, because of specialization, you can only do one part. I have known people, surgeons also, who have opened the body. They said, no, this is not my job. This is the job of that doctor. So, you know the complete knowledge of medical science. Complete. It's not only surgery, it's not only what you call medicine and others. We have learned so many. So, all that becomes a totality. In totality, you know what is wrong with it on your fingertips. For diagnosis, you know, a patient dies halfway. If somebody goes to, say, Houston for diagnosis, you should insure him, because maybe he might die with diagnosis only. It's like this. Here, diagnosis only on fingertips. On the fingertips, you can feel very easily what is the center for. Now, if you learn, or if you know, what are these centers meant for? If you know what they are related to, as far as your physical side is concerned, for doctors, then you will know that this person is suffering from this disease. Even small children, say 10 children, you tie up their eyes and ask them, what is this person suffering from? So immediately, supposing they give this, you ask that fellow, what about your throat, is it all right? Yeah, no, it's not all right. How do they know? Because on the fingertip, they know. They show the finger. So everybody will say the same thing, because it is absolute. This all-pervading power about which people have talked about, they have called it Brahma Chaitanya, they have called it all kinds of things, but they don't know what it is. It is this power that starts flowing through you. And when it starts flowing through you, tremendous things happen. Tremendous things happen. I have known so many bureaucrats, you see, were so much worried, upset, because they were honest people and were suffering. They took to Sahaja Yoga, their lives are changed now, they are enjoying themselves. They are not. Because this not only guides you, this not only gives you knowledge, but also protects you all the time. I have seen many doctors who are doing, say, heart patients they are looking after. There are doctors who are curing cancer patients. I met one doctor who has a dialysis hospital, got his kidneys. I said, doctor, how have you got this? So he's just treating only people for dialysis, and he gets his kidney. So there is no protection. You should also have the protection as a surgeon has. He'll tie up his hands and everything. But otherwise, normally, doctors have no protection of any kind when they treat another person. And if they are sensitive, they may catch from them slowly, the diseases which they are going to treat. This also point nobody thinks of. We are not machines. We are human beings. We are not stones. but we are sensitive. And when you see somebody suffering, you catch for. You definitely catch. But in Sahaja Yoga, you know you are catching. In Sahaja Yoga, you know what you are catching, and you know how to clear it out and how to protect yourself. Now, this is what one doesn't understand, that all human beings can get their self-realization. All of them. Only thing, if you are thinking that you are a great scientist and you are above everything and you have read everything and you don't have to know anything, then it doesn't work. It cannot force. Sahaja Yoga cannot force on you its knowledge, nothing. It respects you and respects your freedom. Freedom has been given to you. Whether you take to it or don't take to it is your own. But if you want it, if you are really desirous of getting it, then you get it. But with that you get knowledge not only about medical science, but also about people. Now there are so many type of godmen coming. Now how will you know they are not coming? How will you know? How will you know that Guru Nanaka was a great, not only saint, but an incarnation? How will you know about Christ? How will you know about any one of them? Because you don't know the absolute. You are born like that. But once you are born in Sahaja Yoga, you become a yogi. And then you know exactly that they are all one. All the Sufis are one. All these great prophets are one. All these, we can call them prophets and also incarnations. They are all together one. Christ himself has said, those who are not against us are with us. But how many Christians understand it? So there is no need to have different religions. It is one big, huge ocean of knowledge, which has different, we can say, ports, but that doesn't mean the ocean is different. All your problems will be solved as far as integration of religions are concerned. And you don't have to give up any religion, but respect everything in the right manner that you know about them. There's nothing to discard, nothing to condemn, but to just to know about them. Then you are amazed how they are talking the same thing what you are talking. I have read a book written by one great Sufi from Turkey. And another, I have read it with our Nizamuddin here, who had written something, and his disciples. Just the same. They write the same thing. I mean, there's no difference, because absolute knowledge is the same. Only expression may be different. They might use different expression. So you get out of this madness of religion also. Religion can never teach you to hate anyone, can never. Because I am talking here about the power of love. This all-pervading power is the power of love. It guides you, it looks after you, it cooperates, it coordinates. It is so efficient a government that I don't think we can ever imagine how efficient. And it works just like this. Sometimes it's very amazing. I'll tell you now today a case of a lady, which is a true case. Is she here now? Mexican? No. She might be here. See, there's a lady, you are there, huh? She is a lady here. She was working with the UN, and when I went to New York, she got a realization. And she became a very ardent surgeon. It rose to that thing where we call Shraddha. Then she wrote to me 3 letters telling me about some disease her son has got, who is only 18 years of age, studying in Harvard University or something. She said, Mother, this disease, some people get it in my family at old age and they die. It's a special Mexican disease. It's a big name as usual, you see. So, I was thinking what to write to her, and I was just paying attention. And she said, should I bring my child there? What should I do? And all that. And the 4th letter I find that the doctors have said that he's completely cured. There's nothing in it. Just imagine how quick it was. I mean, I was amazed. There are so many cases like that, but this is something remarkable. Where is Mexico? I was in Pune, and just see how this Param Chaitanya has done it. how it is kind. It is the power of love of God which looks after. After all, the one who has created us, the Creator, is going to look after us, isn't he? But we should have also little attention towards finding out what is the truth. Don't accept anything. You have to find out the truth first of all. And everybody has said that. It is the same thing everybody has said you should know about yourself. Guru Nanak Singh will say, Kahe re ban khoja na jai, sada nivasi sada alepa tohe sangasa. Pushpa madhya jo bas basat hai, mukar mahi jas chai, तैसे ही हरि बसे निरंतर घट ही खोजो भाई कहे नानक बिन आपा चीने मिटे न ब्रह्म की काय. He said you must know yourself. Know thyself, Christ has said. Everybody has said you should know yourself. Now what is that, knowing yourself? That is nothing but you are. The principle is this, that the truth is this, that you are not this body, this mind. You are not these emotions. You are not this ego. You are not these conditionings, but you are the pure spirit. All our saints have said that. Now, we are not on that path. We are not looking out for what are we. If we are the spirit, then how are we to become the spirit? Now, anybody who starts talking like that, I was very much opposed by many people because they thought, I'm just telling lies, I'm this thing, that thing. But when they got sick, they came to me. That's not the way. The way is to try to know that we do not know the absolute. Once you become little humble about it, that we don't know the absolute. So the religion and science become one. Because you can explain it scientifically, as Dr. U.C. Rai has done. Scientifically, you can explain what happened. Now, you don't have to become what you call karma kandis, you ritualistic. No need. There's nothing to be done ritualistically, nothing. Once you are really alive, you have to do little meditation every day in the evening. Now, what I also would, I should say, of this Param Chaitanya, that it gave us a chance to have a hospital in Vashi. And the results are very good in Vashi. They never used to charge anything for the outdoor patient, but they said, Mother, please allow us to take 10 rupees. I said, all right, take 10 rupees is all right for anything. But in the people who are living inside, they are also paying little amount. Nothing compared to what people pay in the hospitals. And Dr. Rai so sacrificingly accepted. And the doctors are coming from Russia all the way. You know, Russian doctors are wonderful doctors. They are very great scientists, I must say. They have gone very far in scientific approach. They have tried to find out the energies, which are subtle energies, and lots of things they have done. But especially they are very much interested in working through Sahaja Yoga, and they are coming down here to work. Now, I would not expect our doctors to come and work like that, but at least for once a week they can give some time, and they can practice Sahaja Yoga just as a blessing to the people. Our country is full of very poor people, very, very poor people, extremely poor, and we feel very much concerned. People always ask me, you are such a yoga bhumi, then why the people are poor? The poor they are because they do not follow the right path. See, if they follow the right path, Lakshmi is also there to bless you. There's nothing to worry about money, nothing to worry about anything, and you become a person who is absolutely in balance. As soon as something comes up, some crisis comes up, immediately you will become silent. And you start seeing what's wrong. What is the problem? Because you are not silent, always in the conflict. You cannot see the problem clearly and you cannot solve it. But you don't solve any problem. It is this, I must say, this power. I also tell them, I don't do anything, I'm just sitting down. This power is doing anything. They don't believe me. But it's a fact. I'm not doing anything, I'm just sitting, I'm not planning, I'm not doing anything whatsoever. But this power does everything for us, so why should I do anything? But it's rather difficult for human beings to leave things to this power. Even some doctors who have been practicing medical science have had very funny experiences. Like there's one doctor, Amjad Ali, in Australia who is very well qualified, and he was experimenting on some sort of huh? Huh. So you see, what he found, when he went close to them, they start becoming smaller. He could not experiment. He said, now how am I to experiment with it? Because I cannot. As soon as I go near them, everything disappears. All the disease disappears. So what can I do? I said, you don't experiment with that, but you can experiment with the people who are already sick and do something about it. So there are many things like that. Another person told me that in England there's a craze for research. So one scientist, they told him, you must find out what is minus 273, the absolute zero. So he said, I cannot, because the formula is such that some heat will remain always there. I said, all right, do one thing. You go and tell them this is absolute, and how can we find absolute? We cannot find absolute. It's absolute is beyond us. Then I said, you use vibrations, and you use these divine vibrations, and he achieved it. He got his doctorate and he did it. So they asked him, how did you do it? He said, I cannot explain to you, because if I talk to them, they will never listen to me. These scientists, they think no end of themselves. How can I tell them that I did it with this divine power? They cannot believe that there is another big power. After all, who runs our heart? Ask the doctors, who runs our heart? They say autonomous nervous system. Now, who is this auto? Ask this question. Second one, you can't answer. Who is this auto? Auto you don't know. Then but they are honest, because they say we don't know. And they have put it, the name autonomous. Now I am talking of parasympathetic nervous system. As you know very well, and we know very little about parasympathetic, is a fact. How, for other people, I will tell you that in very simple words, what is parasympathetic. Now when there is some emergency, our sympathetic nervous system, which is the left and right side, go into motion. Like we have to run. Then if you are running, our heart will start pumping blood. But what brings it back to normal is the parasympathetic. In simple words. कुछ doctors भी हैं, कुछ और भी हैं थोड़ा. So this parasympathetic nervous system, when it is filled with energy, it just settles down. It gets nourished. And then it starts working in such a beautiful manner that you achieve so many things which you could not normally achieve. First thing that happens, that you become a very peaceful personality. Very peaceful. Because we are thinking. Now the thoughts are rising and falling, again thoughts are rising and falling, again thoughts are rising and falling. All the time we are jumping on the cusp of the thoughts. But there is a space in between, and that is in Sanskrit called vilamba, but we can call it pause in English language. Now this is the time where we never see that pause. We never are there. So when we are jumping in the future or in the past. For example, just now you are sitting before me. Maybe you are thinking if they will get a train or not, a bus or not, or this and that. Or maybe you are thinking about your past. But you cannot be in the center. This is the big problem. You cannot be in the present. If I say be in the present, you cannot. And in the present is reality. In the present is totality. And in the present is silence. You don't think. So, according to even Patanjali, you have to become nirvichar. These thoughts which are bombarding your head, you have to become in charge of them. You have to be in control with them. So what happens? You become nirvichar, without any thought. It's a thoughtless awareness. And this thoughtless awareness is the one that gives you complete peace within yourself. People talk of peace, I know of people who have got peace awards, big. Such hot-tempered people that you have to approach them with a barge pole. I don't know from what angle they are talking about peace, but they have got peace awards, Big people like that I have known who have got peace awards. Peace has to come with you. When human beings become peaceful, there won't be any quarrels, no fights, no wars, and no politics. If you are peaceful, then you are so satisfied. You are, as in Hindi they say, apne mein hi sama jate. You are satisfied with yourself. You don't get into the mad rush of approaching somebody, encroaching somebody, aggressing on someone. No. You are with yourself in complete peace. As a result, so many things happen. Maybe I am the oldest person living here. Nobody can be more in age, because I am 74 now, I'll be 75. So you can imagine. But at peace when you are not having any such ideas of aggression or anything. You become absolutely peaceful. And this peace is very required today for this world to come to something which we call as a peaceful world. By fighting, by quarreling, you can never achieve peace. I have seen people going with the flags now, fight for. So समझ लिया एक न्यू दिल्ली in that अब नया नाम निकला ना, पर मैं उसको इपिस डिजीज कहती हूँ, चलो सीधा. That disease is such horrible thing it is that your rational mind just goes out. Your conscious mind just goes out. You can't even lift your hand. You can't even lift your finger. And people carry you just like what you can call a reptile on your body. You can think all right. You can talk all right. You can plan all right. Calculate all right. But you cannot walk. You cannot lift your hand. You cannot do it. This is a new disease that has come in America and is spreading all over, and I have seen one patient also here. So what I'm trying to say, that going with this your stress, all kinds of things can happen. Now why this stress is there, that also we should know. First of all, the Kundalini has started working in this Kali Yuga, in this time. Secondly, if you see these two nadis or two channels, we call Ida and Pingala. So the Pingala nadi creates ego within us, as it is shown there, the yellow one. It creates a balloon like. Then the second one is the Ida nadi, which also creates a balloon. Now Ida nadi creates the ego balloon, and the left side one creates the superego, means conditioning. Now if you are identified with something, if you are conditioned with something, then these two are. But when you are too much right-sided, these are all, you see the ego moves and covers the left side. So there's a blockage, complete blockage. Now whatever problems you have, they cannot pass out of your body. That makes you weaker and weaker, and that's how you have stress. With this Kundalini, these two move out. And it's opened out, and you become one with this divine power. Now as far as the brain is, because there are some neurosurgeons also, as far as the brain is concerned, we know that we use wee part of our brain, very little part of our brain. But once you get this Kundalini there, it enlightens so many areas of your head that you just know. Sometimes people ask me, Mother, how do you know? I know. I don't know how I know. There's no technique for it. Just I know. They say, Mother, how do you know this thing? How do you know? Somebody wrote me a letter, and I said, who has written this letter? I know. And I told them. They said, Mother, how do you know? I said, I know for definite this is the one who has written it. I don't know that person. I've never seen him. I've never seen his handwriting. But I said, I know who has written this letter. Just I know. But I wouldn't say that it's something great that I should know, because I just know without any work, without any thinking, without any managing, just automatically I know everything. So once you become that, you don't have to worry. Now, for example, I know also a lady doctor in Delhi, in Bombay. She is the one who is a Sat. And she said, Mother, I could know that this man has tumor very much low in his brains, but it will come out. So she said, then I was just giving vibrations first. I said, let me try first the vibrations. They said, no, there's no tumor on that side. She said, it is here, I know, I can feel it, it is here. They started arguing with her. And then they found out the tumor where she sat. Exactly that. They said, how do you know? She said, I don't know how I know. So even the children can tell where is the problem. In your head, in your brain, what is happening. Now to look after your brain is very important that you don't go into imbalances. Because if you go into imbalance, your right side will develop or your left side will develop. Actually, the right side develops on the left and the left side develops on the right. Now, also I don't know how far the medical science has gone. Up to the understanding as to left and right side are two different complementary systems. I don't know if that's it. Okay? So far. But in Sahaja Yoga you will discover that they are two complementary systems. One is right-sided, one is left-sided. And when the right side is too much, then left side might act. Or when the left side is too much, then right side may act. You see, it's a complementary two systems. And if you go on one system all the time, then you become right-sided or left-sided. Now, left-sided are the people who are not futuristic, but who are the people who live in the past. Now, of course, I mean, I don't want to just now discuss about it very much, because it's also more confusing for people, because they don't want to believe that there is something like dead souls, or they don't want to believe in the viruses being dead, vegetables and things like that. But it is. On the left-hand side, we have got all our past since our creation. So if somebody gets virus, you give antibiotics, you do what you like. It won't go. Only Sahaja Yoga can drive it out. Only through Sahaja Yoga you can cure viruses, because only Sahaja Yoga can act on the left side. Many mad people, crazy people have been cured through Sahaja Yoga. Also it gives you a good idea about how you can show people who is mad and who is not mad. Like I had a program in Pune in the beginning, and they arranged it in a hall which was owned by some Brahmins. So when I went there, they said, no, she's not a Brahmin, so we can't give her the hall. So Sahaja Yogis were mischievous. They said, all right, we'll give in the newspaper that they are refusing because she's not a Brahmin. No, don't do like that. We'll have it. So I didn't know what was happening behind the back. When I went there, I was sitting there. Very interesting. I saw about 25 people sitting in front of me shaking like this. Mother, stop it, we know you have power, stop it. I said, I'm not doing anything. They said, now also there are people who are shaking like this. So I said, ask them who they are. They said, we are certified mad from Thana. We have come here with our superintendent because you have cured one madman. So they said, are we also mad? I said, was something wrong. So the thing was, they were thinking Brahmins are the highest or something like that. It's all nonsensical ideas, because Brahmin is that which knows the Brahma, which knows all-pervading power. And because of these funny ideas, they have tortured all the saints. Especially in Maharashtra, people have tortured all the saints all the time. So, where you have so many saints and so many people, then you must know that it was just to work out the brains of these closed-minded people. But to open them out is only possible, I think, when they are in difficulties. When they are not in difficulties, they don't want to accept. Supposing they are sick, then they'll come to. Now, if you cure somebody sick, you see, once he's cured, he's finished. He doesn't do any Sahaja Yoga, he doesn't want to help anybody. But if there is a person who is healthy, who is perfectly all right, and who is knowledgeable, if he comes to Sahaja Yoga, he'll be such a help to this, I should say, to this poor country. This country is suffering from tremendous poverty. Now only saying, Garibi hatao, Garibi hatao, Garibi hatao. I know of one gentleman who was a great corrupt fellow, and he used to live in one room with a little cot. I said, why do you live like this? He said, because everybody is Garib, so I want to live like Garib. I said, why don't you give all this money to these Garibs? Why are you lying like this? So he said, all right, you suggest to me any organization which is absolutely above board, and I'll do. That was a difficult thing, decision. But what I'm trying to say, only by saying people are garib, you have to attend to that. And is only possible through Sahaja Yoga. How? Sahaja Yoga is practiced mostly by middle class. Both the sides are, one side are the poor, another side are the rich. Rich are very few, but more by the middle class. Then it's like a river which expands, you see, on both the sides. This time I've been always thinking that I have to do something for the poor people or something. Always, and I have done also on my own. But I wanted Sahaja Yogis to contribute, Indian Sahaja Yogis. So I told them I want to start a place where we could have these women who are standing on the roads with their children asking for alms. We can have something to help them. Immediately I was surprised Sahaja Yogis contributed to me for that. And I was so amazed at their enthusiasm. I said, this is the generosity. This generosity that has come to Sahaja Yoga. And then when they said, Mother, we got all this through Sahaja Yoga. We have improved so much that we don't have to worry. And they so generously, a person becomes extremely generous. He becomes very peaceful. He becomes generous. And he starts enjoying the generosity. People earn such a lot of money, everything they should do. There's no harm. In Sahaja Yoga, there's nothing like sannyasa. Nobody has to take sannyas. Nobody has to go out of his family, out of his... Nothing. It's all here. Why to go anywhere? So you have to be a very normal person. But one thing is important. You must have the pure desire to get your realization. If you don't have that pure realization, then it doesn't work out. Apart from that, it might work, but you won't dropping down. Because if you want to make money out of Sahaja Yoga, or if you want to, say, achieve some power out of it, you see, you are so powerful that you don't have to ask for power or anything. You don't know how it works and how it gives. First of all, only we have to believe that we are reflections of God Almighty. We are not just human beings. Especially to be born in India, you must have done lots of punyas. Otherwise you cannot be born in this great country, I can tell you. All this you see is all nonsense that is going on. It's just skirmishes on the periphery. But if you see the culture, the love, affection we have, the understanding of value system we have, you can't imagine. When you go abroad, you are amazed. You don't know how to tell them. They're so stupid. I tell you, very stupid people. Nothing to learn from them. I've been fighting with the stupidity of people, especially Americans. I sometimes think that they are not yet grown up as human beings. The way they talk, the way they understand. They only like people who will come and tell them stories and make fool out of them, make a lot of money. To me they said, we cannot take to Sahaja Yoga. I said, why? Because you don't take money. What is your validity? If you don't take money, then you have no validity. Why should we believe in you? Because I said, then supposing I take money, then we can prosecute. I said, go and prosecute all these people who have looted you. Nobody could prosecute them. So, we should not look to them for understanding of life. They have not yet understood. We have to look to ourselves. We have such a heritage. You can imagine thousands of years back, we have been talking of Brahma. We have been talking of absolute truth. In what country they have this kind of thing? No country. So first of all, you should be very proud to be an Indian. That's very important. Even Sahaja Yogis from abroad, they dress up like Indians, and they have taken to our culture, our style of culture. I need not tell you about the Western culture, as I was really shocked. Then I thought I better write down something about them as a witness whatever I saw. So there's nothing to learn from them, nothing to learn. But one day will come. They have to come here. All the doctors have to come here. I'm very thankful, very, very thankful to this Indian Medical Association. Especially, I never expected. And I'm very grateful to them for this. Because I know in this country, if the doctors take it up, all over the world they will have to understand. The value of our knowledge of life and of medical science. I would say that I've seen so many people sitting here, I don't know how many are doctors, how many are from industries and how many are Sahajogis. Whatever it is, one has to know that all of us are blessed by the same reflection of God Almighty within ourselves, which we should. After that you will tell me what has happened to you, what you have felt and what you had. It's a thing, is a matter of your right to have it. It's your right to have that power, but you have to ask for it. If you don't ask for it, I cannot force it on you. Nobody can force it on you. It is a very spontaneous happening and which works out. So fast, so fast. I must tell you, in Russia, this hall of course has fallen short, but in Russia, they always have it in big, huge places. It's 16,000, 18,000. And they are so much, I don't know, endowed with Shraddha, so much, that in the program only they get clear. Only in the program. So I could not understand. And they had a meeting of the scientists there, about 250 scientists came. So I started telling them about science to begin with. I said, better be on their level at least to talk to them. So one of them got up, he said, Mother, don't tell us about this science. We know everything. Now you tell us the science of God, science of divine. You tell us about it. I was amazed, look at these Russians. So I found out this, all these countries like Bulgaria, Russia, Romania and all these 5 countries, there the people are like clean slates. They have no conditioning. They don't know anything about God. They don't know about anything about books, nothing. Absolutely they are not conditioned. And the way they have achieved this Sahaja Yoga, I mean, I am really amazed at that. Romania, I was amazed. And I just told them one paper I read. Not read, I never read. I told them about one thing. And the medical, same thing like this was there. And they gave me a doctorate. Not honorary, but real doctorate on that knowledge. Can you imagine? I mean, it's not possible. First I didn't know, I've never known these things. So one of my disciples said, Mother, you become a doctor. I said, that I think I have already. No, this is a real doctorate, real. I said, really? How they have done? Such sensitivity. But this sensitivity comes, perhaps, maybe that they were very much oppressed and troubled, and also they had no conditioning of anything. And it's very surprising. They have no sense of possessiveness. Their government said, you take your own flats and look after. So they said, no, we don't want, you look after. They said, all right, whatever cars you have gone, you can take it. No, what's a headache, you better look after. What is the use of taking them? Because after all, when we die, if we left here. So such unconditioned minds and such clean slates, I tell you. In the same way, we are also very much, Indians are very much capable, very much more capable than they are. Once they get it, and they can go very deep into it, because our life is very deep. Our culture is very deep. We have had, thanks to all the saints and all the Sufis and all the incarnations, that basically our genes are very good. But with Sahaja Yoga you can even change the genes. We have shown it. You can change the genes also with Sahaja Yoga. And we should not accept anybody because he says his genes are bad, so he should be allowed to be what he is. It's not that. Everything changeable, and to say that genes are just the cause of your own style, it's not so. Because one child will have different genes, another child will have another genes. So how can that be? So it's not from the parents, it's not from anything, circumstances, but it is your own reactions to things that you develop genes. So what happens with genes is that you become a very, very religious man, very religious. in the real sense of it. Not religion because you pray too much, nothing, but inside, you are so religious. And religion is what? Is love. Love for humanity is religion. And that becomes so innate and so inborn, and you enjoy, you see, loving people. You enjoy giving your love to others. Even those you hate, you love to give them love, because you think hatred, after all, is due to ignorance, is not because he hates you really, but ignorance. And you start seeing the whole thing in a very different vision. So I have a great vision of our country achieving that mass emancipation, awakening. And so let the whole world come here. Once they came just to give us slavery, now let them come to learn what is divine. And you all can do it very well. You don't have to read many books, nothing of the kind. We don't give also books to people, because if you give them books, they will just become masters of the books and will not achieve anything. They should go deep down. First of all, they should be themselves completely one with the divine. Otherwise, they are not entitled. They have no powers. When you are not empowered, how will you do it? But for that, you don't have to spend too much time. 5 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening, if you can meditate, nothing like it. And you will be surprised that all your thought process will slow down, so much so that you can see clearly what is the right, what is the wrong, what's going wrong with you also, because you get self-knowledge, and also with others. Because you develop a new dimension, which we call as collective consciousness. Samuhik Chetana. Collective consciousness. Sitting down here, you can feel vibrations of Mr. Clinton, or you can feel the vibrations of any person, anywhere. Sitting down. Now, if you know how to correct these vibrations, your own vibrations, you can correct the vibrations of others. You can correct the vibrations sitting down here of other people who are far away. But of course, you can also correct the vibrations of people who are with you. In your family, there are people who are mad. You can correct them. So we can have very good families, and we could have very good marriages. It has many dimensions, Sahaja Yoga, but today is the day I want to really thank you all, the medical science people and the industrialists, that they should now take to Sahaja Yoga and make the best of their lives, lives which are brought in this great country of yoga, where you can easily achieve it. This country is so full of vibrations, you won't believe. I was coming from London with my husband, and I told him, we have touched India. He said, how do you know? I said, see the vibrations all around. It's only in India you feel these vibrations. So he went to the pilot just to find out. He said, sir, only a minute back we touched it. So this is such a great country you have. And if we could just develop that feeling that we are Indians, and it is our responsibility to see that our knowledge goes all over and let people take advantage of it. By that we don't criticize anyone. By that we don't condemn anybody, I have told you. But we give them the basis of all the knowledge. And that is, in Sahaja Yoga, you can do it very well. I would say that instead of reading the book, better get your realization. Because Kabira himself has said it, Padi Padi Pandita Murakha. Pandit bhayo na koi, ded hai ye akshar prem ka, sikhe to pandit. Thank you very much.
I invite Professor U.C. Roy, who is the director of Sahaja Yoga Research Institute, Bombay. He has come all the way from Bombay. Special applause for him. I invite him to make his presentation on Sahaja Yoga. Professor U.C. Roy.
Her Holiness Sri Mataji Nirmala Devi, Dr. Sood, President of the New Delhi IMA, Dr. Brahm Prakash, the Director of the Neurosciences, Dr. Kalra, Dr. Grover, the past President, Dr. Sudesh Ratan, the President of the IMA New Delhi branch, Dr. Rajiv, and Dr. IPS Kalra. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great privilege to talk today before this August gathering, and I'm very happy that one of the eminent neurosurgeons has raised a very valid point today, and that is now we are seeking for an alternative system of medicine. Dr. Sudesh Ratna also said the same thing, that we want an alternative system of medicine. Now, why these doctors today want an alternative system of medicine is because the modern medicine has not been able to give an answer for the cure of psychosomatic diseases, which are increasing every day in this modern era, in this present age, because of the highly industrialized life and a high-tech life. There is so much of psychological stress, there is so much of stress and strain in life that everybody you find is suffering from one or the other psychosomatic problem. If you look up the data you see provided by the World Health Organization, they say 50 million people, you see, are suffering from essential hypertension. And for this, there is hardly any cure with the modern medicine. I think the doctors will agree with me. They always say, well, you have to take the medicine all through your life. If you take another common disease like bronchial asthma, if you go to the doctor, they will prescribe you the drug, and you find that you have to take it all through your life. There are so many. Migraine is another, for which I know. You go to the greatest neurologist of the world. You see, I remember MacDonald, you see, from London, who came once to Maulana Azad Medical College when I was there, and he told me, Dr. Rai, there is no cure for migraine. My wife was suffering from migraine, and I consulted him, and he said there is no cure, and we have got these migraine clinics in London where hundreds of ladies, you see, are coming. Now all this, you see, has made the doctors also to think that there has to be some other alternative system. Now the modern medicine has advanced very much. There are thrilling advancements in the modern medicine, and if we say that modern medicine has nothing, it will be wrong. Why modern medicine has failed in the treatment of the psychosomatic diseases is because of the wrong concept. I'm sorry to say, Descartes was one of the great scientists, but one thing which he said was that the mind and body are separate entities. And this dominated the philosophy, and this dominated the mind of the scientists, the biologists, the physicists, the chemists, and people forgot that there is something like mind. They only thought of the body. All the researches which has been done up till now were based simply on body. I remember there was a conference international of the neurosurgeons in India. Dr. Brahm Prakash was there. One of the scientists from Netherlands, neurosurgeon, said that it is only the spiritual scientists which might be able to give us an answer to the dilemma between mind and brain. The scientists today do not know what is mind. Only it is with the PET, positron emission tomography, that now some researchers have started to get an insight into the mind. But it is the spiritual scientists like Sri Mataji Nirmala Devi. I remember in 1984, when I met her first time, she asked me, Dr. Rai, do you know why you get cancer? I said, Sri Mataji, in this world nobody knows. And if anybody knows what is the cause of cancer, then I think he will get a Nobel Prize and he might be made a name in the world. Sri Mataji said to me that there is protein P52. And I was sorry, I scanned the whole literature, but I did not get the name of the P32. But recently, I think 4 or 5 years back, when I was reading a journal on the oncologist cancer in the field, I found that one of the scientists you see in Toronto said that it is the P32 which is which might play a role in the causation of cancer. Now this I have mentioned to you with a particular purpose. My idea of telling this is that it is the spiritual scientists who have got insight into the inner realms of life. They only can give you a clue as to what is the real truth. And the scientists have to apply their mind to prove it. Now this is one example. And this, you see, made me to think. Earlier, I would like to accept before Sri Mataji that when I heard Sri Mataji for the first time, and when she told me that by doing Sahaj Yoga you get cool breeze in your hands and top of the head, I had humbly to say to Sri Mataji that it is very difficult, I am not getting, and as a scientist, as a physiologist, I am not able to believe it. And she said to me, Dr. Rai, why don't you do some research on it? And this was the beginning of the research into Sahaj Yoga. And when I started doing research on Sahaj Yoga, and when one of my postgraduate student, Dr. Sethi, did it, the first thing was to find out what are the physiological effects on human body, because that is very important. Before I recommend, or you recommend anybody that practice Sahaj Yoga, you have to know that if you are practicing Sahaj Yoga, what is its effect on the body. Now there are so many yogas, you see, which are there, but we do not know what is their effect. And so I thought that the first thing we should do is to find out that what is the physiological effect of Sahaj Yoga in our body. I will not go into the greater details. I have brought the slides, but I think the time is come, time is less. So I will just tell you that when the research was concluded, we found a very important finding, and this finding was that one of the neurotransmitters, which plays a very important role in our body and which increases the sympathetic activity, you see, gets decreased. And when we got this result, which was statistically significant, I was very happy, because most of the problems today is of the psychological stress. This psychological stress stimulates activates your sympathetic nervous system, and thereby produces a greater secretion of adrenaline. And all the doctors here know that when adrenaline is more, your heart rate increases. You start getting palpitation. And you find also it can bring about so many effects on the muscles. The muscles start going into tension, and you find that the person starts feeling nervousness. There is nervousness. also. And if you go to the doctors and you tell him that I am suffering from nervousness, I am suffering from anxiety, I do not get sleep, then he will say, well, take a tablet of compost or etivon. And if you take it for a very long time, what is going to happen is that it affects your brain and you go some other disorders. This was one of the most major problems, you see, in modern medicine, that they have got nothing to treat psychological stress. And that is why 10, 15 years back, I remember, as Dr. Sudesh Ratan has mentioned, that we started thinking of, we means doctors started thinking of something, an alternative. And they came out with relaxation methods. They started thinking of biofeedback mechanism. And they said if we do biofeedback, it relaxes and the psychological stress gets reduced. Many other methods were done. But when we did Sahaj Yoga, you see, we did the research on Sahaj Yoga. As I told you, we found that the adrenaline secretion decreases tremendously, which is statistically significant. The heart rate decreases, the blood pressure decreases, the blood lactic acid decreases. Lactic acid, you know, everybody knows here, doctor, that if there is an increase in the lactic acid, it can produce anxiety neurosis. Pitt's classical work is an evidence to it, and we find that the blood lactic acid also decreases. The galvanic skin resistance, which is another parameter for the autonomic activity, we find the galvanic skin resistance increases by doing Sahaj Yoga. And we know that whenever 15 to 20 minutes a day, he can fight the bad effects of stress. And you can save yourself, you can prevent yourself from various psychosomatic problems. Because these days, you know, the heart attacks are increasing. You find there are so many cases which go for angioplasty, so many cases which are going for coronary bypass, so many cases of hypertension, and all this is because of the psychological stress. I would like to tell this August gathering and the doctors who are present here that one of the researcher, which is known as the stress researcher, Milton Kaplan, you see, he did work on stress, and he found that if you take two group of mice and you expose them to stress, in one group of mice there is a device by which he can avoid the stress shock by pressing a lever. And in another group, there was no device for preventing stress. So these two groups were there. And what he did was, he injected in both the groups some cells, you see, of the cancer. And then he tried to examine that what happens in these two groups. Now in the group of mice which had a device to counter the shock, to counter the stress, you see, they did not develop cancer. And the other group, which had a device to counter the effect of the stress, were saved. The cancer did not develop. Now the inference is that if you have got a device in yourself for anti-stress, for counteracting the effect of stress, you will be able to prevent even cancer. And this is what Shri Mataji said in 1970. You see, Shri Mataji is the founder of the science of Sahaj Yoga. She founded a system and a hypothesis for sickness and its cure. She has told us that all the diseases can be cured by Sahaj Yoga, by the practice of Sahaj Yoga, and by the techniques by which we can clear the various subtle chakras. I would like to tell you here that this Sahaja Yoga is very, very scientific. Sri Mataji said, you see, that this Sahaja Yoga, which was described by Sri Mataji in 1970, which was originally described in Markandeya Puran, Sri Mataji said that this Kundalini, which is present in the sacrum bone, can be activated by the practice of Sahaja Yoga. Then this clears your chakras, Swadhisthana, Navi, Anat, Vishuddhi, Agya, and then it reaches here in the Sahasrara, combines with the cosmic energy, and then flows back in your body in the form of the vibrations, and you feel the cool breeze. Now, this is again a very important point, because when I was delivering a lecture in Russia, in one of the international conferences, one doctor asked me, the Dr. Rai, why not we do Hatha Yoga or Raj Yoga? And I had to tell him that Hatha Yoga is also very good, Raj Yoga is also very good, but if you look at it, that when you do Raj Yoga, what you have to do? In Raj Yoga, there are so many things. You have to master 8 steps of yoga. That is Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, and then comes the Samadhi. So you spend half of your life. And Sahaja Yoga is spontaneous. Sahaja Yoga does not interfere with any religion. Sahaja Yoga, you find, is cost-free. Sahaja Yoga is based on the subtle nervous system. And most important is that it is consistent and it is verifiable. Now, this is one very important point, Dr. Brahm Prakash, I would like to draw your attention to it, because when Professor Whitridge was there, I asked him, sir, we should do some research on yoga. And he told me, Dr. Rai, don't put your hand in yoga because the results are not consistent. And that is why in one committee, which was founded by Dr. Karan Singh, and he spent lakhs of rupees for 5 years in Nimans, Bangalore, and Dr. I think, I'm forgetting the name of the person who was in charge of it, and they could not produce one paper. And when I asked him one of the conferences, he told me, Dr. Rai, the results of the various other yogas are not consistent and verifiable. When Sri Mataji told us that it is consistent and verifiable, and this I told to the faculty of Delhi University, and they were very happy, because this is one of the markers, you see, for any research work. If you do not know a thing, for example, transcendental meditation, it failed because a lot of researches were done in transcendental meditation. I have been examiner of it so many times, but why it failed was because there was no marker. You don't know whether they are sleeping or they are in a stage of transcendental meditation, which they say as 4th stage of consciousness. What is the proof for it? Here there is a proof. And the proof is that you find cool breeze from your hand. If you get it, you say, yes, the yoga has actualized. And this actualization only occurs when you find your primordial dormant energy. It activates, clears all the chakras, unites with the cosmic power, and thereby unites and comes back in your body in the form of the vibration. And this is a power which can do anything. I know Sri Mataji, on the demands of thousands of Sahaja Yogis in Russia, thousands you see in other parts of the world, like London, Germany, Vienna, so in every part of the world, you see, I would say there are 65 centers in the world. They asked Sri Mataji to open a center where the incurable diseases like cancer, like you see migraine, like irritable bowel syndrome, like multiple sclerosis, so many, you see. Bronchial asthma and hypertension and diabetes are of course very common, can be cured. And Shri Mataji opened an international Sahaja Yoga Research and Health Center last year in February 96. And I am very happy to tell to this August gathering that there have been so many cases of incurable diseases which have been cured there. And such cases were, for example, one was the case of periarteritis nodosa. There was another case of dilated cardiomyopathy. There was another case of infertility of 14 years. All these cases, you see, were relieved, you see, and a case of, I am telling you, of infertility, 14 years. And this case was diagnosed as Beach Candy Hospital, Jaslok Hospital, Institute of Fertility and Research, and they said that they cannot have a child because the ovary do not produce any ova, in spite of all the hormones. I was also not sure, but I just said, as Shri Mataji said, that Param Chaitanya can do anything. And so this energy is Param Chaitanya. And what happened? After 2 years, they were blessed with a child. Now with these few words, I will end my talk by saying that with the advent of Her Holiness Shri Mataji Nirmala Devi, a new era of holistic health care through Sahaja Yoga has started. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Rai, for trying to